3 years ago, almost nobody walking into a showroom could have told you what an Omoda was. Today, it is one of the fastest growing new car brands in Europe, and the 7 is the model built to turn that early curiosity into repeat business. This is a mid-size plug-in hybrid SUV aimed straight at the most competitive corner of the market, the space owned by the Volkswagen Tiguan, the Ford Kuga, and the Toyota RAV4, and it arrives with a very simple argument. Match those cars on size and space, beat them on electric range, and quietly undercut every single one of them on price. You sense that ambition the moment you stand in front of it. Up close at this dealer event, even under gray skies and rain, the 7 carries itself like something more expensive than it is. The full-width nose uses a huge honeycomb grille, with the Omoda name spelled out across the front, and the headlights stretch deep into the bodywork, so the car reads wider and lower than it really is. The footprint is sized almost exactly like a Kuga or a RAV4, so this is a proper family SUV, not a tall hatchback in disguise. It is clean, modern, and just anonymous enough to age slowly instead of shouting for attention. Inside is where the influence of a certain electric brand becomes obvious. The dashboard is stripped of almost every button and built around a large central touchscreen that runs nearly everything, with a second display sitting ahead of the driver. The materials genuinely surprise you for the money, with soft surfaces where your arms fall and a finish that feels a class above the sticker. There is one honest catch in here. Because Omoda buried the climate controls and most shortcuts inside that screen, a simple job like nudging the temperature pulls your eyes off the road, in a way a row of real buttons never would. It is the one place the minimalist look quietly costs you. The saving grace is that the screen is large and quick. The important functions sit a single swipe away, and the whole car is backed by a 7-year warranty that takes much of the risk out of living with a brand this new. If a clear breakdown like this helps you spend your money well, subscribe so you catch the next one. Practicality is where the 7 lands its biggest punch. In this plug-in version, the boot holds 590 liters, a little under 21 cubic feet. That is smaller than the petrol model, because the battery sits beneath the floor and steals some of the space. But here is the part that matters. 590 liters is still more cargo room than you get in a plug-in hybrid Tiguan, and it beats the hybrid versions of most rivals in this class outright. The back seat is just as generous, with real knee and headroom for tall adults, plus air vents and charging ports, so the people behind you are not an afterthought. Under the hood, the badge on this car reads SHS-P, which stands for Super Hybrid System Plug-in. A 1.5-liter turbocharged engine works with an electric motor and an 18.4 kilowatt-hour battery to make just over 200 horsepower and 269 pound-feet of torque. That is good for 0 to 60 in around 8 seconds, brisk without being dramatic. The figure that actually changes how you own the car is the electric range. On a full charge, it covers up to 56 miles on battery alone, which means most commutes and school runs happen with the engine still asleep, and you only lean on petrol for the longer trips where a plug-in hybrid is supposed to. Add it all together, and the Omoda 7 makes almost too much sense on paper, which is exactly the point. It is the same size as the established names, it carries more than most of them, it travels further on electricity than several, and it does all of that while starting around 10,000 pounds below a comparable Tiguan or RAV4. None of that guarantees the badge will hold its value the way the old guard does. But for a brand that barely existed a few years ago, building a car this complete, this fast, is a sign that the established players can no longer assume the newcomers are not ready.